So, in that, I've just gotten here. I wonder if you would join me in just like 4 breaths together before we
Yes,
start chatting. Okay.
yes.
Okay. Let's just close our eyes for a minute and just take those 4 together. Okay. Go ahead. Thank you, dear sister.
My pleasure.
I love your pink today.
Thanks.
Yeah. I don't often see you in pink.
You're kidding.
Is that just my luck? Timing?
Yeah. Well, this is one of the colors of my brand. Yeah. Pink and high orange slash gold.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
High
right.
pink. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that logo. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's cool.
You're sitting in a different place.
I am. Yeah. Different day, trying something new. Little adjustment.
Okay. So I wonder where we're going to head today. I've asked for some, as usual, guidance to lead us to what will be most fruitful for you and I to enhance upon, as
Yeah.
well as for anyone possibly tuning in. So
I'm game. What's coming up for you?
I feel like, I don't know, is a really good place to start. We're in such new times. And it's going to, I believe that on my channel, this will be posted maybe next Wednesday. I'm not sure, which is the 19th. And the 20th is, what I do know is, have you heard of Edgar Casey?
I have. Remind me that I could be making up that I know who that is. Go ahead.
It's a great
It sounds
response.
familiar, but go ahead.
Um, he was a person who, in the 1930s and 40s, was able to be put into a trance-like state and make major predictions that came true,
Okay.
have come true. And one of the things that he has mentioned is that this time when the planets Saturn and Neptune come together at 0 degrees Aries, which happens next Thursday. Aries is the beginning of the zodiacal wheel, so it's basically the astrologer's new year.
Okay.
Without getting too technical, the point is that he called it the Great Disillusion, and a few astrologers are calling it the Great Reset. And I feel energetically that because Monday starts with a solar eclipse for the new moon opening the Chinese New Year of the Fire Horse, which I've never seen before in all of my decades now of opening Chinese New Year and honoring it. So I just feel like we're at the point I've been talking about for 15 years, and I sense, like, as I make adjustments in my life and in my mission, my business, I feel like words are not yet created to describe what is going to be our new reality, and so it feels like a lot of us are saying the same thing and seeing the same thing. And how do you discern between this person's use of the word spiritual and that person's use of the word spiritual? Well, energy, sure, but who says that you're not making an egoic assessment and then projecting that interpretation onto the assessment of what this person is saying, instead of actually energetically accurately perceiving? So I find like there's these stages we get at, and I've seen throughout the decades my clients get at, where they come in to work with me, and they think they're already somewhat intuitive, and they think possibly, and they think they have a sense of like their full body yes, which you and I have talked about before. And I don't know, I feel like and this has been pounding through my guidance for quite a few months now, if not a year at least, where people feel like they know what they know. And it's almost like in the nature of these new times, like the grasping onto what you know even, may be happening even harder as we move into this complete time of, wow, this is different. And I've been saying since December that when February hits mid-Feb, we're going to feel the new paradigm. It hasn't yet been structured, so our physical reality doesn't necessarily reflect it, but it's going to feel really different. And so, yeah, I the sense of not knowing and celebrating that space and watching our ego minds do their natural thing, which is to label and define and
Right.
chop up and just really like, I feel a massive rebirth is happening for me right now. And it's almost like the times we're in, like there's so much potential. I'm looking over the computer screen and to like the energy and space right in front of me, and I'm like perceiving like diamonds within like the molecules, like sparkles. I'm not saying I'm seeing sparkles because that is happening sometimes, but like just this preciseness to the energy in the air and this it's right. I've seen it be feel and see, and I have seen and felt it be golden type of energy. This feels more like a precise diamond like purity of the energy, and a precise, like the word precise keeps getting repeated, doesn't it? I keep saying precise, don't I?
Yes.
So I think that act even of itself, the observation of our responses and reactions in the coming days and weeks, will help be informative as to showing us a bit more of what this new era is going to start to look like, as well as guide us where to create from and even what to create differently than we have gotten used to in the past like 5 to 10 years. Where do you want to go with that?
Um, well, I guess as you're speaking, a few things came up that might be worth sharing. Uh, so one thing is it was -1, which was actually
Ah!
it was actually a fairly high temperature. I mean, like I mean, like I was talking to someone on the phone today who woke up yesterday at -18, about an hour or so from me yesterday. But on Sunday, it was -1 when I left my house. And I get to my Sunday meditation, which, mind you, is in a park. Okay. And granted, there are people there who were snowshoeing, not on this day because it was so cold. But and I get to the room and I get it ready. I do some things to prepare the space and make it nice for folks to arrive. And I have the most people show up who have ever shown up before. Even in the middle of June or July, when the park is full of people from out of town, just like anybody could pop in from like the hotel nearby, they could see a sign and pop over. No, -1, and there's the
Do you have
most.
a space heater in there, by the way? Because those buildings are cold.
I do, but that's a whole other conversation. This building is not cold. It's like I,
Oh,
I
wow.
had people overheating 2 weeks ago because we have like no control over the thermostat. So I had the maintenance guy in there a couple of weeks ago with a crowbar because the windows. So I could get those old building windows open, and actually, I was actually letting -1 into the room to cool it off a little bit. And by the time everyone arrived,
That's
and
not
I
what I
closed the
do.
window, it was actually comfortable. So I think I got a beat on how to make it, relatively comfortable for folks. But the reason I'm bringing this up is, yeah, again, because despite the weather, I had the most people show up, and most of them were new. Most of them were there for the first time, and this coincides with, I don't know. I heard something beautiful. today that I think is related to what you're talking about. But before that, I'm also um, I'm also taking another a separate continuing meditation course. Kind of, it's kind of a refresh and a reboot sort of thing. And one of the things that I'm just hearing the teachers in there share with me that I'm in turn passing along and reinforcing to my students who I'm guiding is just you're already doing something, that you are here. That
Mm.
so the number of people who showed up who are new, who are interested to try meditation, that's one thing. And I think speaks to the times that you're referring to, as far as the time that we're in and the way that things are changing. And people are realizing that, okay, if I'm going to be here and I'm going to exist, and more so if I'm going to flourish during
Yeah,
these times,
more
I
so.
need to start doing something. I need to start taking, I don't want to use the word serious because
No, please don't.
I don't love that word, but I'm going to use it anyway. But it's like
Ah.
to some, okay, I won't use that word. Following through on what you sense needs to be done. And where I'm going with this is what I was hearing my teachers in this course just over and over again. Just, just do your best. You're just doing, when you're like in the practice, when your mind wanders, come back to your breath and do it cheerfully and know that you're doing your best. You're just doing like that, just sort of just gentle encouragement. Just keep going. Just keep trying. You're already doing so much just by trying. So just keep doing it. And so that sort of sentiment, which I always just find encouraging because I'm a striver, I'm a doer. I have, I want to accomplish things, but we have to sometimes check that to just know that so that we don't like shut down, judge ourselves, chuck something out, before it's time. Just know that you're doing something. Anything that you're doing right now, if it's inward and if it's devoted and if it's true, then you're doing something. And I heard this, the beautiful thing that I heard today was just speaking about these times that we're in, the way that things are changing, and like you were talking recently about, you can tick off one after another of the things that we could focus on that would be like disturbing and challenging and negative. Yeah. And what I heard her saying was, it's like she used the metaphor of this was Naya Somyasha, and she was talking about being in your swimsuit and having your surfboard, um, so that you're ready. And when the wave comes, and you know it's coming, you ride it. If we're not doing something, this is just what I heard her to say. If we're not doing something for our inner life, for our spiritual awareness, then it's like, these times it's like you're standing, she said, I think she said, like you're standing on the beach in your suit and your high heels. And you're not gonna be able to ride that wave, right? So I just that encouragement of what's going on. I don't know. I just heard that today and found it so encouraging, and just wanting to pass that on. Like, as long as you're doing something, keep doing that thing. And it's only going to grow from there. I don't know. That's where I wanted to go with it. What do you think?
I love it because one of the things that I see the most often is people in the West applying the results-oriented, goal-driven, and you spoke to this a bit in our last podcast together. Goal-driven, and we were talking about this together, like expecting the results to show up sooner than they typically do in this more organic process,
Yeah.
where we're working with the spirit and the soul and the heart and consciousness, and how that corresponds with a seed growing into a plant that bursts above the soil.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that it's not, and that people will quit before they see what the ego mind has been conditioned to assess as effects, results,
Yeah,
benefits.
it doesn't show up that way. It
It
doesn't show
just
what
does
we're
not.
talking about. It doesn't show up the way that the only way that at this level, at the ego mind level, we know to label it. It doesn't show up that way. So we have to be open. So those are the moments where we have to be open to results not looking like what we think they're going to look like. And when we don't see what we can't see, to not give up. I mean, at some point you do have to just fall into trust and do the things that you've learned that you're trying, because then it's funny. And then at some point you are able to see
Yeah.
that there's a result.
I see people giving up too soon from a lot of stringent self-talk, a lot of taskmaster type of cha
Yeah.
kind of talk, yeah. And also having a new method of assessment, you know? Like I meditated, so therefore my mind's supposed to be silent, like we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
And instead, like having, and I was just re-listening to an interview I gave 4 years ago to forward to somebody who I'm working with. And I listened to me talking about the nature of, just hold on a second. I just want to listen and see if this is where I want to go. No, it isn't where I want to go. I feel like what I'm perceiving in the atoms and in the energy is like I'm actually, because I'm so focused on grabbing out from the cosmic influences that are creating the vibrational backdrop we're living in, grabbing from that inherent potential for this new golden era and aligning it and activating in a person's subtle energy system and consciousness their latent potential to have these match up. Like I feel like that's part of what I know it's part of what I've been focusing on for years. I talk about it all the time, but it's like I'm seeing actual latent potential in the energy. It's phenomenal. And so I feel like the living in the question, like I'm working with somebody to reposition my messaging, and my guidance has been to do that for a while to help people clarify amidst all the noise what it is I can actually help them with, right?
Okay.
And so as I work with that person, it's been interesting because one of the observations she made was she looked at my website and she said, that feels like an old version of you. And she was so spot on with that.
Mm.
Yeah. And so, and now me clarifying to this person new to my life and work and mission and business and helping her understand it, I'm finding myself like not wanting to talk about the way that I usually talk about my past, my story, who I am today, who I've always been, and what I help people with. I'm finding myself want new words to describe it, like, and not want to also encapsulate, storify the past in the same like way that we're used to doing. That also, in the observation of what's happening, that also makes me aware of the newness in the energetics that we're in now and that I'm rebirthing myself into. And so, yeah, it's really interesting to do a branding exercise during this energy.
Yeah, it's interesting. You came a bit full circle where you started off saying, I don't know what the words are. It's interesting. It's interesting to have, because I mean, a lot of what
You were just so excited.
I think that there is tremendous skill involved in trying to speak, to match words to experiences of consciousness,
Mm.
of super consciousness, of intuition, of soul nature, of all of these words that we use. to try and get at what it is that we're experiencing at our most subtle and truest level or part.
Well said.
Yeah, so it's like it's a dance. It's a dance around figuring like how can I choose the exact words, and am I gonna just have to make up some new words, like combine some words in some new sorts of ways and make to somehow articulate what it is that I'm feeling. Right? I mean, it's how many times have you seen a movie or read a book or I mean, this is why poetry exists, right? To some, I mean, you're trying to paint a picture with words. You're trying to use, so there's a lot of skill,
But
and
it's
not.
also why those our yoga teachers use metaphors so much. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's not heady, but I mean, there's stories, the resplendent amount of stories that Eastern teachers use, and parables and metaphors.
The Bible. Look at I mean, you wonder. I mean, Jesus. I mean, if you look at the teachings of Jesus, if you try and that's where you can get like where intellectualism just doesn't help, right? I mean, but that's all parables. I mean, I'm not a. I don't want to speak beyond my depth, but it seems to me that we are talking about what we're talking about now. I mean, there's good reason. I mean, look at the times that Jesus lived in, as far as the
Yep.
I don't know. I can't pretend to understand what the consciousness was at the time of Jesus.
But there were two other masters on the planet at the same time, Buddha and Lao Tzu, or Confucius. Lao Tzu was earlier. So I just want to help with anchoring that in.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you, thank you. I'm just thinking. I don't know. I've heard a lot of people talking about how we can talk in ways now and talk about things now that couldn't be really even comprehended at a prior time of consciousness, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah,
so
and that's what I'm saying.
yeah, and we're just continuing to evolve. I mean, we're just here. We are here, you and I in these bodies, in these personalities right now at this time, and here we are trying to find words to describe. It's like, how do you find the words to describe what you know that you just that you just that you just know it? You don't. You're not defending it or justifying it or rationalizing it. You just know it.
So it's funny that you're saying that because I usually use capital K for that. I'll capitalize the word no as an attempt at doing so.
Capitalization, that's an interesting thing. Yeah, yeah.
Not the whole word, just the first letter of KNOW.
No, I got you. Like when you capitalize self.
Yeah. And part of what I find my mind going to, it doesn't at all feel like my intuition, is looking at the fact that like back in like 2013, 14, 15, 16 online, I was talking about stuff using words that made, like it scrambled my first Facebook ads guy that I had on staff to help me with Facebook ads. He's like, Allison, when I read your posts, I can't a lot of the time make sense out of them. And I'm like, well, I'm a disruptor and I focus on my consciousness without even necessarily doing it consciously. I naturally play with words to disrupt the neurology, to have new patterns be able to form. It's happening now with my business manager all the time. And it's funny because that's two guys. But I remember using words that weren't being used out there online much, and now they're being used everywhere. So I wonder if it's like a new level of introducing new words, or maybe just using a lot more story.
I think the second one, or if not, well, I don't know. I don't want to jump in here with my brain, but I don't know anything about marketing and things like that. But it just seems like now, circling back to the skill that it takes and the time and patience, and they use the word precision. The precision that it takes, or I think you used the word precise,
Yeah.
that the precision that it takes to be clear, to speak with clarity. So there may have been a time for disrupting, like shifting up the neurons sort of thing. I don't know. It seems like, and I don't know about the times now, but just to me, what I appreciate is when someone can say something, um, preferably concisely, but that's not always possible. Sometimes it needs to be longer in order to be clear. But I don't know, any little bit that someone can do to put words to aspects of consciousness that we're thinking about and talking about, that's clear, that offers clarity, that I can relate to, that makes sense to me, that I can take in and do something with and integrate, even if I don't fully, completely understand everything from top to bottom. I appreciate that.
So, what do you think about words that are encoded? Like, what do you think about the whole concept of, like, I remember sitting at the feet of Guru Dev in a weekend long retreat about prana and the transmission style of a yogic master or guru, frankly.
Mhm.
And the concept of transmission, and then even the concept of Shakti put. So, like, I'm aware that I undervalue my teaching. I used to just label it in a way of me talking, but in the context of then me completely immediately afterwards with the conclusion of, because the real power is in the clearings and activations when I go into the light in the energy medicine at an elevated state. But I have seen historically that when I am teaching in reframing, as you've told me multiple times, how grateful you are when I've reframed something for you. Like, you used to, like, I almost felt like you would dance, like, with a reframe, and you were so grateful for the reframes, and they're happening left and right at a certain stage in particular with your growth. Yeah. So I have come to, not just from that, thank you for the reflections, not that you were giving me reflections as much as you were just so grateful for the reframe. I see that happening a lot. And so learning to value that or that the intellect needs some kind of fodder at times to better, I don't know if the word is accept or deepen what they're receiving through the energy medicine itself, the light, because the light itself is encoded. The light itself has the divine intelligence. As I train my new vibrational upgrade practitioners, and as I learned, from an example I give a lot to them when I'm training them, client on the table, chronic back pain, I'm at her crown, and she's having reactions at her knees. And I'm saying to her, and I asked my guidance, this happened like in 2011, this is one of my first clients once I got back from Asia. And I'm like, okay, why are her knees reacting? And I don't even think I asked the question. I just got immediately. It's because the divine intelligence knows knows, one, to prioritize, two, knows what's needed. And it went to her knees first because that was what was taking the tax of her lower back. So it went to where the help was most needed at the time. And then we eventually started working on her back in that same treatment. So that really gave me this whole new level of belief in the divine intelligence inherent within life, particularly within light. And so with that understanding, I also know that in looking at how I've used myself as an instrument in a vehicle, I've watched as my voice has increasingly over the years moved more energy and had a bigger impact when I do the clearings and activations, but also simply in transmissions. And even when I'm responding to somebody in the Facebook group created for one of the programs, I'm moving energy as I'm not, and it's not even necessarily a reframe, it's me telling them what's going on or intuiting what the take is on what they're asking me and giving them that intuitive read. There's like a extra fire or spark to it. So I guess what I'm asking you is, okay, so here we are, we've been talking about words and how do we use words that can more precisely capture the essence of a feeling or what we're meaning is. But then what do you think about transmissions and like somebody's consciousness getting encoded
Mhm.
from the keys and codes I have, like from all the tromping to spiritual sites and sacred sites and stone circles around the world and pyramids, etc., that they're in my consciousness and people are getting them as they listen. I mean, what do you think about all that?
I think that we live on a planet, in a society as human beings where words are the things that we have. But that doesn't mean that they are by any means the most important thing. They matter, but they carry they carry exactly what you're describing. They carry this is we had this a conversation weeks ago when I was talking about um the first time or the fifth time or the third time maybe um that I read Autobiography of a Yogi. Is that it's not is that yes, yes, I'm reading the words of Paramhansa Yogananda, but the vibration of his consciousness in that book is what is is what is the everything. So words are important, and we need words, and it's great that we can be specific with what we're saying to clarify what we're trying to share, but to think that they're the most important thing is it's they carry us, they carry something. So the only thing that I mean, I remember, not to doubly quote, but Yogananda said that the instrument is blessed by that which flows through it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
love that one. I love that one too.
Yeah, and so you're just talking about being an instrument. We talk about being channels. That's all. The moment we think the moment I think that I'm doing it, and I say I wish I could like use the little letter S for self, that it's my self doing it. Then things get small and not nearly as helpful or beautiful. But when I can, I don't know. I love that we started our talk today with just getting centered and getting quiet and getting still with and maybe we should do that every, I mean, I know that, we have practices before we hop on this call, but it's just kind of, that's never been after I hit the record button. But, just getting to a place where hopefully we can share something with each other and beyond, from a place that is, that is truly helpful, that is truly flowing through, um, in some kind of way that's supportive to you and to me and to whoever is on the receiving end of this conversation.
I love that intention. I mean, yeah, just causes me to exhale because I'm so aligned with that, obviously. One of the things that I was getting while you were talking was spaciousness and how words chop that up. So it took this feels more like it's a place that one of my first masterminders and Dragon Master level vibrational upgrade practitioners came to call me. Allison's in the mad scientist zone or the mad genius zone. She would use both. And so like I have connections happening in a really rapid fire way where I create something new from it. I don't know if this right now is new, but that's what it just felt like behind my eyes. What was happening is the model of holistic, and I could go into a story here, I won't, but I came back from the 10 years in Asia very much focused on mind, body, spirit, holistic system at an entirely new level than when I had left the States prior. And so the duality, one of the major things collapsing between last paradigm and now and moving forward is the both and instead of the either or.
Yeah.
And so in that both and concept, or what I'm hearing now on series and movies is two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, is the almost like words are taking what is spaciousness, like when we're doing breath together, and they're chopping up that spaciousness. So does that mean that words are taking out the wholeness out of the energy and bringing it into duality? No, it means that they're expanding the spaciousness. So using words that expand the spaciousness. I seem like I'm getting finally an answer to what I came on asking.
Well, and just
How do,
two things can be true at the same time.
how do we get words to actually precisely convey a meaning? They need to expand the spaciousness you're coming from.
Hmm.
Thanks for the
Yeah,
spaciousness with which to explore that.
yeah, that was fun. Yeah, maybe we can talk a little bit more next time. So I think we're going here about the I don't know, about that two things can be true at the same time and both and you see that a lot out there, and I think we could probably play with that a little bit.
I agree.
Cool.
Yeah, I just had an experience, somebody doing that, and me, going,
Okay. Well,
like heart or mind instead of heart and mind together, or heart infusing the mind, which is where I ultimately am and take people to. And the heart is infusing behind the mind. So it's not heart or mind. It's you get yourself cleared enough and vibrationally high enough so that you're having the heart infuse the mind. So it's yeah, it's very exciting.
I will
That's totally the nerdy geek in me, the technician.
we'll hold that thought.
Okay.
And keep wearing pink. I love you.
I love you back.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Namaste.